Join. Why are you full screen? Yeah, maybe you'll pop it. You're kind of in. Look at that. Hey, it's recording. Look at that. We gotta make sure this is Bluetooth headphones. There we go. Look at that.
Is this one here?
This is the speaker. This is our microphone. What's up, guys? This is the second time I've ever been in person, third time I've ever been in person doing the podcast. This is Lance. He's the general manager at Farmhouse in Edina. If you hear anything in the background, it's my psychotic German Shepherd. So that's it. Welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thanks.
So, how's your fitness journey going now?
Right now it's pretty good. As we were just talking, like Mike is programming some pretty fun stuff for us, for all of us, I should say. And I think with COVID, right, like when it first started, everybody kind of freaked out, and it was like, where do I go from here? Like, what do I do for fitness? All these potential sanctional things, online qualifiers, whatnot, they were postponed, right? So it was like, hey, like, do I do Granite Games qualifier? Well, there's no Granite Games qualifier now, right? So there, I mean, as you probably heard with everybody else in the CrossFit world or the fitness world, everything kind of got put on hold. But now I think as we transition back to the gym, as we transition back into routine, we're finding that we're like getting back to normalcy, right? So right now I feel really good. Just turned 29, and the body's, I don't know, it's really weird. I turned 29, like I felt exponentially better than I thought I was gonna. So yeah, I mean, it's good. Grind it out every day, training 5 days a week, and try to keep going. Yes, consistency.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How'd you get started? Like fitness in general? Have you been working out since like high school, middle school?
Yeah, so
elementary school probably.
Fitness realm, I guess for me, like where it started. It all started back in high school, of course. I was always a bigger guy, and always liked to play football, right? So ninth grade, I remember I hung up my one dream of being an NBA basketball player in ninth grade and started to go in the weight room. And Mr. Cashman was the strength and conditioning coach for Pelican Rapids, small town, and just started lifting weights for that. And I knew that I needed to lift weights to play football, and it ended up being one of the best things that I've ever done. Okay. It led me here, I guess you could say. And so playing football, that's kind of like my introduction into the fitness world. I did it more so as an aspect of like knowing that it was part of the sport, right? Okay. Like, hey, I knew I needed to be strong. I knew like football season's only 12 weeks long, right? If you can make it to the playoffs, but you get some preseason stuff too, of course. So you're talking 4 months of the year, you're playing football, maybe you're lifting 1 or 2 times a week. And then on the outside of that, like I played track and field, or I did track and field through shot put, through discus. And obviously with that comes a lot of strength and conditioning too. So that was kind of my introduction to the weight room. From there, I went on to play college football at Gustavus Adolphus College in St. Peter.
Good school.
Little D3 school that I was fortunate enough to play as a freshman. Awesome. Came in big enough, strong enough, and a lot of that probably was due to the fact that puppy dog. A lot of that was probably due to the fact that I did lift a lot of weights in high school, and got to train with some pretty fortunate people. Or I should say, fortunately, I got to train with some people that really pushed me and made me a better athlete. So when you think of like, how did I get where I am? A lot of it just kind of fell into place. To be honest, like I was just doing what I thought I should be doing. Like nobody like laid out a plan for me. Like need to do this, need to do this, need to do this. And I mean, I just enjoyed all of it. I mean, I don't know. It's always been a thing. I never thought of working out as a chore. There's going to be days where like you come in, you're like just not feeling it. You get it done. Sometimes you come through the door, you walk back out the door. It's no big deal, right? You come back the next day. So for me, I've been fortunate enough to be in that scenario where I've always enjoyed lifting weights. After playing college football at Gustavus, what kind of got me to where I'm at now, I guess, would be I've always thought of the gym as like my second home. So all my friends come from the gym, not all of them, of course, but the majority of my friends come from the gym or were initiated at the gym, right? So I was in Fargo for a while. I was driving back and forth from Western North Dakota for a while and just hitting gyms along the way. And kind of that was my social life, right, in regards to working. Then things evolved, I guess. I don't know, life evolved, and I came down to chiropractic school, met some buddies in chiro school that were more into the quote unquote functional fitness, right? I was, at the time, I was more so into the bodybuilding stuff, loved the bodybuilding, still love bodybuilding. Then my buddy Eddie and my buddy Noah, they asked me to do, I think it was Granite Games online qualifier. Right. And, I'd never done a double under before, and I'd never done toes to bar before. And that was the first workout. I'm like, okay, here we go. So I think I struggled through the whole thing. And it was, looking back, I was like, wow, come a long ways now, of course. But that was kind of my first little introduction to fitness, functional fitness, competitive functional fitness, we'll call it, right? And then, so once we finished the online qualifier with those two guys, Eddie had asked me to do a male in-house throwdown at Farmhouse. And then after that, we showed up. I was like in my bro tank from doing bodybuilding stuff. And I had all the bright shoes and then all that, kind of crazy looking stringer tank tops. And I'm like, I remember I was eating Cheerios when I walked in the gym, and Addison Bain, the former owner of Farmhouse, he made some comment, and I just kind of chuckled because I'd never met the guy before. So we go through this weekend, Saturday throwdown, and the next day was the most sore I've ever been in my entire life. Yeah, I couldn't straighten my arms. It's the typical CrossFit story where you go do CrossFit competition, can't straighten your arms, because I think we had jumping pull-ups. We were in the scaled one. Jumping pull-ups, and I'd never done jumping pull-ups before. And I think that was the one workout that like gave me the initial CrossFit rhabdo, or it wasn't rhabdo obviously, but it was the initial workout that I've ever done in a gym. I loved it so much that I came back the next day and I signed up. Right.
That's awesome.
I was at Farmhouse. Farmhouse is the only gym that I've ever been a part of. And I think I'm pretty blessed because I know that's not the case for a lot of people. Right? A lot of people kind of jump around. But I've had such a great experience at Farmhouse. You get good and bad, obviously, but you gotta you weigh them out, and the good by far outweighs the bad. Right. So that's my story. I mean, that's like what, 10 years of, well, I think I started lifting weights when I was in ninth grade, so I would have been 14 years old. Now I just turned 29, so 15 years of fitness right there in about, what, 7 minutes.
7 minutes. So what got you to get into chiropractic school? Because you now have your own chiropractic office.
Right. I'm also the owner of Blue Ox Chiropractic. I host it inside of Farmhouse CrossFit. So that story, that's another long story. I guess it's not terribly long, but we could make it long if we want. I mean, as I like to, if anybody knows me, I like to tell a good story, right? And so the story goes is that after college football, actually I should go back even farther. In high school, I remember my dad throwing out, quote unquote, throwing out his back, right? And we'd always say, oh, he just threw out his back. He's got to lay on the couch for 3 days, let it come back, whatever. He'd go to the chiropractor in town, Dr. Gottenberg, and he got some pretty good results from that, some pretty good relief. And, I saw that. My mom's a nurse, has always been in healthcare. My dad's an electrician, so he has to be on his hands, like on his feet. He's got to be working and whatnot. So I saw my dad go to the chiropractor. He had gotten some back injections too, so he kind of got a little bit of everything. Sometimes they worked, sometimes they didn't. So then, for some odd reason, I have no idea why, in high school, I had this like thought of going to be a chiropractor. I knew I wanted to like serve. I knew I wanted to work in like a service-based industry. So I graduated high school without ever going to a chiropractor in my life.
Okay.
Wanting to be a chiropractor. I'm like, oh, okay. Now I think I look back and like it all makes sense, of course, right?
Yeah.
So, graduate high school, go into Gustavus being like pre-med, pre-chiropractic, right? So it's the same program, just basically getting all your graduate school prerequisites done, right? So going to that, while I'm at Gustavus playing football, we don't have a chiro on football staff, so I never utilized it there either.
Okay.
Go through my first semester of Gustavus, chemistry, biology, physics, all while playing football. I'm like, nah, this ain't for me. Like, I don't want to do chemistry. I don't want to do biology. I don't want to do physics, right? Funny story is that I ended up taking all those classes anyway.
Yeah.
Eventually. So I changed my major, right?
Okay.
Changed my major. I'm like, I'm going to do health fitness or health and exercise science, okay? Along with maybe physical education. Okay, so I'm thinking, hey, I still want to be in the health and wellness realm. Still want to work in this industry, maybe not go to as much school. Okay, so do that for a while. Then I got to thinking, hey, at the time, I didn't really know any personal trainers that made a lot of money. And as a 19-year-old, like, money's a big thing, especially when you're paying $60,000 to go to school a year, you know? So then I was like, this isn't it for me either. So then we were talking, you talk with football guys. I still like being outside, like being hunting, fishing, in nature, hiking, all that stuff. So one of my buddies played defensive line. He's like, hey, you should come try geology. I'm like, okay. Go to geology class, love it. I'm like, I get to look at rocks and be outside like all class. Okay, sweet. So I do that. End up going down the geology route, graduating with a geology degree, okay? Having to take all the chemistries, the physics, the biologies anyway. So I got it all done. I did some traveling for geology. That was kind of fun. And then getting back to how I got to chiropractic, right? Changed my mind, went geology, go work in the oil fields for about a year and a half, come back, work in Fargo for about 6 months. When I was working in Fargo, I had hurt my back at work. I was an environmental scientist at the time, probably lifting something odd, heavy. I don't know what it was. And my kind of mid-back, left shoulder, now I can look back. I can tell you every single symptom. I had lightning bolts down my left arm, okay? Fingers would be tingly, majority of the day, okay? And the gym I was going to, Metroflex Fargo, they had a chiropractor that had just the card in the front desk.
Okay.
And Dr. Emily, she's now started her own clinic called the Cultivate Chiropractic, Fargo, or Moorhead or Fargo, I don't really remember. So I took the card, called it, and I'm like, hey, I need you guys to figure out my shoulder. Go into the clinic. This is at Strive Chiropractic. Now, they did a great job. Can't say anything bad about those guys. Wonderful clinic. But I remember I walk in, they're like, yeah, we don't treat like extremities, but we'll adjust you and see if it works. Yeah, okay, sweet.
Is this the first time you've been?
This is the first time that I've ever been to a chiropractor, right? So they did all the screens, they did all the stuff, right? And I walk in, their clinic's beautiful. Then Dr. Emily, who is not a big girl, she's quite petite,
Okay.
very strong though. She's a power lifter, okay? And if she listens to this, hi, Dr. Emily, you did a wonderful job. I am where I'm at because of you, okay? So she adjusted me, and it was like the chiropractic miracle, right? All my back pain went away. I still have back pain, shooters into my left arm. And I would say like, hey, I hobbled in like a hermit, right? Hermit, walked into the clinic, couldn't barely move my left arm. And she adjusted me, and it was quote unquote the chiropractic story that's so textbook, where people never been to the chiropractor, and it worked. And at the time, I wasn't very happy with my job. So then at that moment, that split moment when I walked out of the office, I told myself that I was going to go to chiropractic school.
Okay.
So, I mentioned it to my mom. My mom's very supportive of everything I do. I mentioned to my dad. He was a little bit more hesitant because he's like, hey, like, this is a big decision. You've already been to 4 years of school. You're going to try and go back for 4 more and spend even more money. I'm like, yep. He's like, I just told him I'm going to figure it out. I think it was 2 weeks later. 2 weeks later, I put my notice in at my current job at the time. Called the school and was like, hey, I want to go to chiropractic school. Called Northwestern in Bloomington. I don't know who I talked to. Can't remember who I talked to. I said, hey, I want to go to chiropractic school. What do I need to do? And they were like, here's the steps. You got to send us your transcripts. You got to send us all your credits, blah, blah, blah. And within a 2-week window, I found out that I needed to go back to undergrad school to get some more prerequisites. Okay. So I'm like, okay, I guess I'm going to do that. So I quickly enrolled into North Dakota State, took an anatomy class, took another chemistry class, and I was pre-approved to be accepted into chiropractic school. Awesome. Cool. Then finished those classes up real quick and passed them. I don't even remember what grades I got. I remember that's all I did this summer. So I went from working a full-time job to doing full-time summer school. I had chemistry 3 days a week, 4 hours a day, and then anatomy 2 days a week, 6 hours a day, I think. So it was a full-time job, right?
Yeah.
Trying to cram 2 higher level summer credits in. I think it was a 6-week or 7-week program. Then got accepted to chiro school, packed all my stuff. And again, I still remember, this is where my dad wasn't too happy with me. I had like 8 months left on my apartment lease in Fargo. And I packed all my stuff and left. Said, I'll pay for it. I'll pay a double lease if I have to. If I have to go to chiropractic school, like, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to do what I want to do, right? So moved down, moved in with an old high school buddy, one of my high school best friends in St. Paul. Dogs running around here.
Dog at the table.
Moved in with him and his now wife and a couple of their roommates, Leland and Andy was there for a while. And the rest is history, man. 3.5 years later, I probably moved 3 other times to different apartments while in chiro school. Found CrossFit, found Farmhouse, started planting the seed to like build my clinic within a gym, because that's always been a kind of a dream of mine. And now here we are, about 8 months into COVID, and
gym's thriving.
Things are rolling, right? Things are rolling. So, I mean, you look back and when March hit or when I graduated school, there was some kind of back end like paperwork issues that happened, and I was super stressed at the time. Now you look back, you're like, man, that really wasn't that bad, right? And as you go through these experiences of having good and bad, I mean, it's just what it is, right? It's like you can have a negative attitude towards it, and look back and like, wow, those times really sucked. But you're looking now, it's like if we didn't go through that, where would we be? Like, it could be worse right now. It could be better. So that's my story, man. It's been a lot of fun. This dog is entertaining us today. But in regards to chiropractic and fitness, I don't envision it getting separated at all going into the future, right? So now in the world that we're in, right, fitness world, okay, adapting to life, ruthless in pursuit, right? It's all mindset in regards to how you approach the task that you're trying to do, right, or you're trying to complete. So when COVID hit, right, you had the governor make these rulings where, hey, now we can't gather, we can't be in groups of, I don't even know what it was, 25 or more, 10 or more. So you kind of got to just roll with it, right? And most people were pretty, I would say the majority of people are pretty adaptable in regards to just like going with the flow, right? But yeah, you got some people that a little bit more concerned. You got some people that aren't concerned at all. So just like handling that was probably the biggest challenge, and trying to make the best decision for the scenario, right? So I think, I don't know where you want to go down. Like, you want to go down the rabbit hole of like mentality or perspective or whatever.
Well, how did you start coaching like CrossFit?
Okay, yeah. So going back to CrossFit, once I completed the Farmhouse Throwdown with Eddie in the fall of, gosh, what was that? 2017. Yeah, 2017. Fall 2017. Like I said, I joined Farmhouse the next day. I think I bought a 6-month membership to start. And at the time, Addison was a pretty high level athlete. And I'm like, damn, that's badass. Like, I want to be like that,
Year later, fittest in Minnesota.
Yeah, I think he was 4-time fittest in Minnesota.
Something like that.
So being able to be coached underneath him was a blessing. And I tell it to everybody that I know, everybody at Farmhouse, that Addison gave me the base of how coaching should be done and how you can address a group of people, but yet be so individual, right? So he coached me like textbook, CrossFit. I bought in, I initially bought his programming. So he programmed me accessory workouts on top of the class WODs, right? Okay. So I remember I first came in and he warned me, and I chuckled at him. I'm like, oh, I'm this big bodybuilder guy. Like, I can do any workout out there type thing. And he warned me. He's like, hey, just do the class workouts for now. If you can do the women's RX, that's pretty good. And I chuckled at him, whatever.
65 pounds.
Yeah, like, okay, like a 35-pound kettlebell swing. Like, what big deal is this, right? And I remember the first workout that I ever did, I think, after the throwdown was a kettlebell workout. It had kettlebell push press, American swings, or the full swing, and then Russian swings too. And then in between each one, you had to go run 200 meters, whatnot. And I remember it was full class. I showed up in my like stringer bodybuilder tank, right? And we did the workout, and it like totally kicked my ass, man. It was bad. Can we swear on here?
Yeah.
Okay. Not good, but okay. Yeah. It kicked my ass, and I will never forget that. It was 3 rounds of 60 American swings, 500-meter run, 60 Russian swings, 500-meter run, 60 push press, and you can split them up however you want. 500-meter run, 3 rounds of that, and it wrecked me hardcore. And I think I did women's RX, which was a 35-pound kettlebell, and it was fun. I always call it my the OG beginning WOD that I first did. So bought into Farmhouse, bought Addison's programming, did class workouts. I think at the time my school schedule let me come by 2 times a day. So I'd come do open gym in the morning, come back for class in the afternoon. And then eventually, I think I created this relationship with Addison where he trusted me, I trusted him. We would chitter chat back and forth, and eventually I started doing his programming too, right? So whatever he was working out, if I had like an off hour or 2 in the afternoon, I'd come train with him, or he'd jab me and be like, hey, why don't you try this, try to beat this score type thing. So then we just went back and forth. We became pretty good friends, and we still are. And then one day, it was I think it was the fall of 2018, when he was getting ready to go to regionals, or right after regionals. He had asked me to start programming for CrossFit. He's like, hey, or maybe it wasn't CrossFit. Maybe it was functional movement. Anyway, at the time we had kettlebell class, we had functional movement class, CrossFit class. He asked me to start. I think it wasn't CrossFit because I wasn't CrossFit level 1 certified yet. He asked me to start programming, and then if I wanted to help coach the functional movement class. Okay. At the time, we had some coaches that were coming and going and whatnot. So it just ended up where I was in the right place at the right time, to be honest.
Okay.
Started coaching the functional movement class, trying to incorporate some more of my chiropractic knowledge at the time. I was only, a year and a half, 2 years into chiro school at the time. So I utilized some of that knowledge. And now I've obviously graduated chiro school, started this clinic, incorporate a lot of chiropractic prehab work into Farmhouse's programming.
Okay.
Then December of 2018, I took my level 1. Or just January 19, I can't remember. I think it was January of 2019, took my level 1, passed. Then I started coaching some more as Addison was transitioning out, right? Yeah. So he was kind of letting up some more of his coaching hours. And I just kind of took over, right? At the time, I didn't think much of it. But now I look back and it was like, now it all makes sense. I'm like, I should have figured this out when Addison was doing all this stuff because as he was transitioning out of Farmhouse, I was transitioning into a role that was new to me. I was still in school, learning every day, learning how to converse with people, with groups of people, right? And if anybody knows me, they know I like to talk. So, I could talk to a brick wall if I wanted to.
How you doing today, man? Still going strong, got it.
So it doesn't come to surprise to many people, but at the time where I was at in life with being so, focused on school and completing school, potentially having a job in the gym fitness realm, I didn't really even look into it. But at the time, I was also like planting seeds of like, hey, what do you think of like bringing a table in here? Can I do some like marketing for chiro in the future? And that was kind of how I got to be in the coaching realm. I mean, if anybody asked me like, hey, how do I become a coach at a gym? Well, first you have to establish a relationship, right? It's like, it's hard to come into a gym where you have no relationship with anybody. You don't know the vibes at the gym, and be like, hey, I want to coach here, right? Yeah. Do you have any openings? Well, you might have openings, but as a gym manager and a business owner on the side, or in conjunction, I should say, you gotta have the vibe, man, right? Yeah. It's like if you don't have the vibe, it's never gonna work. You could be a great coach, but if the 14 people in Farmhouse class don't vibe with you,
and they don't like you,
right? It's just not gonna work, right? Like you could coach the clean and jerk like perfectly, but we all know that coaching is way more than just going through a movement.
Like, or like, all right, teaching, you're gonna do this,
right?
This. All right, you got it,
right? Like
good job.
We know that coaching is much more than just explaining what a movement is, right? It's a relationship. So it's not a prescription, right? Coaches can't give prescriptions.
No.
It's a relationship that you can build, right, through whatever avenue you're coaching, right? So whether you're coaching CrossFit, sweet. Coaching nutrition, sweet. Coaching life coaching, sweet. Spiritual coaching, sweet, right? So we can, you gotta make the relationship first. You gotta build respect for one another. I think, as a manager, I respect and look up to all my coaches that are underneath me, right? And I don't even want to say underneath me, that coach beside me, right? And like I'm just the one that got chose to organize the operations that we got going on, right? And they might look to me like, oh, like Lance is quote unquote head coach. I wouldn't even consider myself a head coach, right? Because everybody coaches different, right? I do the programming. I kind of explain the intentions of the workouts to the coaches so that they can explain it to the members, right? But that's the fun part about coaching is that everybody's different, right? You're going to coach different than me. right? The 5 other coaches we have at Farmhouse are going to coach different than me. But that's what creates the culture and the vibe and the just like the business or your kind of like niche of the gym, right? Because we know like the CrossFit road or the CrossFit gym just down the road from us, they're going to offer CrossFit. They're going to have a certain niche that they're going to provide too. Their coaches are going to coach different than our coaches, but their culture and what they offer is distinctly different than what we offer, right? So you could go down that route. That's ultimately how I got into coaching. If you're wondering out there, if you're listening to this and you're thinking, hey, I'm a student or exercise physiology student or an exercise education student, health and wellness student, or if you're not a student at all, right? If you're just interested in coaching, right? Hey, I've done fitness for a long time. I think it'd be fun to try and coach. Again, try and build that relationship. Try and get a little deeper with whoever's running the gym, to see if you can vibe with that guy, right? Because you got to vibe with the gym, right? You got to want to be there, right? Nobody wants a coach that comes to the gym that doesn't want to be there. You know what I mean? So do that. Maybe throw some things out there. Say, hey, I got my level 1. If you ever need any help, just let me know, type thing. Like just like slowly plan it. That's what I did. And I'm not saying that my plan or my plan of action was perfect. I definitely could have gotten into coaching a lot earlier. I did some informal coaching all the way back to 2010. I was in college, coached some high school kids, hosted some camps, went out to the oil fields, helped with the high school program there. Okay. And again, it all stemmed from creating a relationship with whoever's heading that program. And just like throwing like little hints in, like, hey, I'm willing to work for free. If I have to work for free because I want to do this, there's probably some potential for you to make a job out of it, right? So, this dog, you better be careful where you're biting down there, buddy. So that's kind of how I'll tell the story of a coach that we just hired. A gal walked in. Gosh, when was it? It would have been August of, not this last August, but the August before, August of 2019. Yeah, August of 2019. Okay, I walked through the door. She's like, hey, I'm here to do my free week. I'm like, sweet, let's do it, Came in, totally crushed it. She's like former athlete, super nice, bought into the system, like followed directions, was coachable, right? Enjoyed the workout. Some people come in, they don't enjoy the workout, and you're like, I don't know if they're gonna come back, type thing. Enjoyed the workout and came. I think she came for all 7 days. And after that, I think she mentioned she was gonna go back home. She'd let me know, blah, blah, blah. I hadn't heard from her for a while, but she made an impression on me, right? Yeah. And if anybody was in class, I think she did the 9 a.m. class the whole time she was in, and everybody knew, like, she was super nice, right? Super personable. You could talk to her, you ask her questions. Traits that you look for in coaches, right? That are like, that kind of go above and beyond just like showing up, right? Hadn't heard for a while. Say back to my story. Hadn't heard from her for a while. Then, gosh, when was it? She came back again. This was pre-COVID now, I think. No, after COVID? Can't remember. Came back in some sort. And she joined the gym. I'm like, oh, sweet. And I remembered her name. Yeah. And I think she'll tell you too that she's like, yeah, like, Lance remembered my name. That was one of the biggest things that like brought me back to Farmhouse. Yeah. Okay, sweet. So then we did we were in need of coaches. I was coaching pretty much everything at the time. This must have been June, I think. June. Right when we got back into going outside. July. Okay. June or July. Then she was bought in. Like, she was bought in right away, which I love, right? I love that. you show passion, you show commitment, right? Bought in right away from the get-go. And I think she did a 2-week trial with me, so she would coach alongside me, right? Yeah. And that was kind of her, I won't say quote unquote interview, but it was kind of like an interview, right? To see how she coached, how we ran things, right? So she'd already done her 3 weeks. She knew how we operated. With COVID, it's a little bit different, obviously. Hey, sit down.
Hey, come here.
Why do you bring it? I'm not even throwing it to you, bro. So then she did a 2-week trial with us, a coaching trial.
Okay.
2-week coaching trial. Then I kind of threw her in the fire. I mean, I trusted her. I had 100% confidence in her coming in to coach for us. She's a former Exos coach, so I knew she had good education. I knew she's coached a lot of high elite athletes. Yeah. She's been in front of people, and I was like, "Yep, we're gonna find out real quick if this is gonna work or not." And now she's been coaching for us since I think like July or August now, and she's a total rock star. Awesome. So that's one story, right? She came in, made an impression, right? And everybody's impression is gonna be different. Where if you come in and you're really loud, that was probably what I did. Like I was wearing stringers, wearing like these lime green shoes, drinking my protein shake during the workout, thinking I was a total bro, right? Now I look back, I'm like, wow, how ridiculous was that? But you could say that's probably that was one of the steps that got me to where I'm at. Yeah. Right. What this coach's story I just mentioned here, she came in and she just impressed me with her effort, and everybody impressed me with their effort, right? But for someone that's brand new to CrossFit that comes in and is in a new environment, working out at 9 a.m. with, at the time, probably a lot of moms. I mean, the 9 a.m. class was kind of a mom class, right? Yeah. Or student class. At the time, I think it was a lot of moms. I think there was 5 moms in the class, and it was her. And she crushed it. And that was like, I was like, wow, did not expect that. Okay. Yeah. So again, everybody's impression is going to be different. Whether you stick around and chat, whether you're super empathetic with other members, right? You're cheerful, supportive, right? And you're there at the very end, clapping on whoever's finishing last, right? That's kind of the CrossFit thing. Nobody cleans up till everybody's done type deal. And again, everybody's impression is going to be different. So that's, kind of my recommendation for people to come in if they're going to go into a gym. So if I were to start all over again, I'm fresh, right? I'm a chiropractic student again. Hadn't coached officially in a CrossFit gym ever. I would go into a gym, buy into it, join as a member, okay? Probably be there for, I don't know, anywhere from 1 to 6 months, right? Create relationships, show some incentive for the coaches to look to you, right? Yeah. Like, hey, are you helping out other members? Do you offer to clean up? Yeah. Right? Do you offer to ask if there's anything that needs to be done? Just go above and beyond it and do the things that aren't expected, right? I expect all of our members to show up on time. Okay. I expect our members to clean up their stuff when they're done. Yeah. Right. I expect their members to hang out and not be in a frumpy mood, right? You know what I mean? Like,
be by themselves and not talk to
everybody. Right. I don't like if someone comes in and they stand in the corner for the whole time and they do their workout, right? They do really good effort. They follow directions. They're coachable. It's fine. Yeah. But just don't expect to be asked to coach a class, right? And I'm gonna be blunt on that, right? There are some people that come in and they barely even talk to me. Like I said, I can talk to a brick wall, right? And there's people that come into Farmhouse. They don't know how Farmhouse operates. They don't know how we operate, or they don't know how what the relationship from coach to manager is, and they ask the coach. I'm like, well, maybe we should have started this relationship just a little bit different, right? So there obviously it can be a need. There's a place and time for a need to have quick fill-in replacement coaches, right? So yeah, maybe a scenario comes in and I have 5 of my coaches that quit tomorrow. Knock on wood, hopefully not. Cross my fingers, right? All of our coaches are great. But if that happens, I'm going to need to find a coach tomorrow, right? Or the next day. So, the CrossFit world's pretty small where we can, if I needed a coach, I could find a coach, you know what I mean? Especially in today's world.
One Facebook or Instagram.
Yeah, it's fast, right? So
you'll have like 10 lining up outside.
In this realm right now too, with COVID, with people not being desperate, but being interested in coaching, right? Being in the gym, having these relationships because they don't have them elsewhere now, right? Like if you're working from home for 8 hours a day,
you need some social.
Yeah, time. you see the news. If you do live with a significant other, right? You see them. If you live with family, you see them. But we need more than that, right? Like you need friendships and relationships outside of the norm. And whether you do that through Zoom, whether you do that through in person, whether you do that through going to the gym, people are willing to get out there, right? And I think now, like, there's no shortage of coaches.
Definitely not.
But again, it goes back to finding, depends on how desperate you are, and your need. It just comes down to finding one that vibes with the way you operate, right? So I've been blessed where the scenario that we're in now is pretty darn good, right? I don't know, like, everything can be better, everything can be way worse, right? But we're pretty darn set at Farmhouse right now. We got some fun things coming up in regards to coaches transitioning, right? Potentially. So we have 2 of our coaches are chiropractic students. One's getting a new job in January. One's building a house in January. And then the other one's looking to get some more coaching hours. So it's like, hey, like there might be these like transitions that are going to occur. But again, like we'll roll with it. We'll adapt. And whether COVID comes back with raging fury, it already is, I guess I should say. You know what I mean? Like
Wisconsin, Minnesota.
Yeah, it already is. But whether or not the stipulations on how businesses operate come back, that's going to kind of determine what happens to our operations, I guess. In the meantime, we'll do our best to keep everybody safe and provide an environment where they feel comfortable coming in and working on their health and wellness. And then from there, we'll control what we can control. So that's the long-winded answer to your question of how I got into coaching and what I would recommend for want-to-be coaches to do.
That's a good long-winded answer. Tired Thor out real quick.
Here we go, baby.
You tired now? So, how'd you get hooked up with Michael for your training?
Training. Okay, so switching topics now. Ruthless in Pursuit, Michael Vespa, Jade. Don't forget Jade.
You can't.
And he'll admit Jade's the backbone of this business.
YouTube video for this podcast has the second most listens.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Jade, watch out.
Take that, Michael.
There we go, baby. Ruthless in Pursuit. Okay. Oh, we have a visitor.
Oh, did you find the visitor? Sit. How's it going?
Hi there.
Hi. Yeah. Thank you. You can just leave it there. Go.
Hey, package.
Yeah.
There you go. Ruthless in Pursuit. Mike Vespa, Jade Vespa, Hadley, and
It's gonna be Michael Jordan Vespa.
New baby Meat Squad member. I got introduced to Ruthless through Caleb.
Okay.
And Caleb was on the Ruthless team for a long time, or he was with the Ruthless crew, I should say, for a long time. I don't know how long he was, maybe 1 or 2 years. And he would always be doing Mike's programming. And at the time, I was getting more competitive, right? I was getting more into the competitive route. I had done Addison's programming for a long time, right? As Addison was transitioning out, I kind of went to comp train for a while. Did comp train for a little bit online. Did Invictus for a little bit online, right? Like both of them, great programs. If you're wondering, if you want kind of an entry level, financially entry level programming, competitive programming, I'd recommend Comp Trainer Invictus any day. But then at the point, I was getting to a point where I needed just some more accountability, some more interaction, a little bit more personalized, quote unquote, personalized programming for me to become a better competitive athlete, right? I had done a game day competition with Caleb, realized there was some pretty big weaknesses that I needed to work on. And then it would have been, March of 2019, I reached out to Mike, and we did our onboarding, and then the rest is history. So, I think I reached out to Mike because Caleb had some pretty good luck with him. Not luck, pretty good
results.
Experience, we'll say, right? Results. And just the way it goes is Caleb's no longer with the Ruthless now. It's totally fine. We're chill with it. He's still doing quite a bit of fitness. Anyway, I'd created this relationship with Mike, initially through Caleb, initially through the game day competition we did together. Mike was at that game day. I think he was the floor director at the time. And he'd give me some tips and whatnot when we were kind of in the waiting, hey, like, I remember he came over and he critiqued we had axle bar shoulder to overhead, I think.
This was like game day Mankato back in the day, right?
This was game day Minneapolis. Okay. Yeah, game day Minneapolis. And he critiqued my shoulder to overhead, and I knew of Mike at the time. Had never talked to him before. But just the way he approached me and the way he communicated with me, I was like, oh, okay, now I get why he's a good coach. I get why he can have these relationships with people. And I called him, or I sent him an email. He called me. We had our intro consult, right? Asked what, what my goals were, what my, incentives were, why I wanted to do it, why I love fitness, blah, blah, blah. It was more, more than just, hey, here's your workout. Right? It was more like, well, why, right? Why is a pretty powerful question. And when we ask why, we can really get to the bottom of things, right? But the person you're asking it to has to be willing to delve into that question, right? A lot of people, because I want to. Yeah. Why? Right? Why do you want to do this? Why do you want to do that? Why do you want to do that? Right? Why is a pretty powerful question. And Mike will be the first one to say that he likes to intrigue powerful questions, right? So from there, it was kind of the rest is history. And we went through our ups and downs. Obviously, not everything is roses, gold, and sunshine. But I think if you can converse through those maybe not so ideal conditions of COVID and financial worry and body aches, right? Everything that comes along with it. If you can have a conversation that goes through it, that's the part of coaching that's fun, right? It's like, hey, if we can open up and have a bigger relationship than just me prescribing or recommending you do back squats, that's where coaching is like, that's the fun part, and that, right? And a lot of coaches know that, but there are some coaches out there that all they want to do is just write a back squat program, and whether you stick to the back squat program or not doesn't matter to them, right? You know, it's like, that's cool. If they want to do that, they can do that, right? It's just not what I want to do. It's not what Ruthless wants to do. And I'm saying that with the assumption that that's what they would say, right? So
if not, Michael just punish us in our workouts.
Yeah, there you go, right? So yeah, it just comes down to, you know, when I joined Ruthless, I wanted to be a part of something, right? And you know, I was quote unquote a part of the comp train team or the comp train community, but it's just not as personal, right? You know, like Ruthless, like I have 24-hour access to Mike. If I text him at 5 a.m., he's probably going to text me back at 5:01. If I text him and he's working, usually I don't expect a text message right away, but he's on it, right? He's on it. And so that's kind of what you're joining the team for, in regards to having a common ground of relatability, right? You'll say, where, hey, we know we all like fitness. We know we all like to be pushed beyond our comfort zone. We know we're all willing to dive deep into our own thoughts, right? And if you're not, and you're on the Ruthless team, we're probably going to get it out of you, right? So just be aware of that. We're not going to force it out of you, right? But we're gonna kind of expect. And I shouldn't be talking for Ruthless, but I feel like I've withheld my own now, right? You know, getting into the deeper conversations of, hey, why did you have this particular thought going into this particular workout, right? And then how do you attack that, right? How do you use that to your advantage going into a workout, because we know that's what we're doing, right? The tasks that Ruthless prescribes are workouts, right? So yeah, that's my long-winded, again, not a long-winded answer of how I got involved with Ruthless. Great company. If you're looking to hop in, either reach out to me or Dano or Mike. Ruthless in Pursuit. The name just explains it all, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if you're going to be part of our tribe, there's going to be some you know, expectations that you're going to be kind of the punk rocker, against the grain, but willing to do the work type of person, right? And I wouldn't say that I'm a punk rocker, but as long as you're open-minded to you know, going down that route and really, again, getting deep with your thoughts, with your emotions, especially around fitness, right? And then you know, we can transition that to relating fitness to life, you know, in regards to how you approach a workout can be the same thing how you approach a project at work, right? If you're, I don't know, a computer analyst or a IT guru or computer programmer, or you're a nurse, trade service, whatever, like you have a task at hand, well, you know, as Jason Kalipa says, like AMRAP it, you know, like work for 5 minutes as hard as you can, take a minute off, right? So doing difficult things is not bad. Doing difficult things, I feel, is necessary, right? Doing difficult things just overall makes life easier.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I've had to remind myself that a lot recently, you know, with COVID and just the world at large right now. I think everybody can relate to being uncomfortable. But as Mike says, like in Ruthless, just do the work, man. Like whether you know, like, yeah, obviously we want to do our work well, but at the end of the day, just get it done, right?
Yeah.
Just get it done. So whether that's wearing your mask in the grocery store, right? Protecting other people, whether that's, for me, writing patient notes at 10:30 p.m. last night when I wanted to go to sleep. I'm like, I just got to get it done, right? Just do the work. Or waking up early because you know the only time to get to the gym is at 6 a.m., 5:30 or even 4. I know some gyms that have 4 o'clock class. They're total psychos, but it's a
Gotta
thing.
get it done.
You got to get it done, right? So just do the work. And, I recently I've been resonating a lot with what Mike's been saying, run the play, right? Run the play. And it's bringing me back to my football days where my coach, Coach Cosgrove, next play, right? Next play. You do one play, whether you F it up or not, it's only 15 seconds worth of time.
Yeah.
Right. Well, now we just got to go run the next one. Right? Like, I don't care if the last one was good or bad. It is what it is.
Yeah.
And same thing. Like if you go into a workout, say you have, I don't know, 3 5-minute AMRAPs with 2 minutes rest in between. Well, your first AMRAP might be whatever, because you're like getting used to the movements. You don't know what your transitions are going to be like. You don't know how fast to go. Second one, you're probably going to be pretty darn good, right? Like, hey, like let's rock and roll this thing. You're going to go into it. You're going to crush it, and then, okay, well now you get done with your second AMRAP. You got a 2-minute rest, and you're going into your third final AMRAP, 5 minutes. You're like, whoo, went way too fast. Okay, figured that out. Okay, next play, right? Just do the work. Just do the workout. If you tend to overthink things, you don't get anything done. You just think the whole time. So again, like take a step. I mean, you could go down all kinds of motivational quotes, right? Take a step, run the play, what's the one? Carry water, walk tall, or whatever. Chop wood, carry water. Chop wood, carry water.
Hard work pays off.
Stand tall and carry a big stick, right? That's Theodore Roosevelt, I think.
Got that from your undergrad classes.
Right, yeah, there we go. But and I struggle with it too every day in regards to being a quote unquote motivated or whatever you want to call it. It just comes down to discipline, right? Like you find a rhythm, whether your rhythm's staying up till 3 a.m. watching Netflix and going to, getting 2.5 hours of sleep and coming to class at 6 a.m. Don't recommend it, but like if that's your rhythm, like what is it to me? You know what I mean? Like, but the thing is that if you come to me, right, as a coach, I'm probably going to recommend that we change some things. Yeah, right? We're going to switch some things.
Maybe
up.
Come to like the 9 a.m.
Right. We all know sleep is good, right?
Yeah.
But if you're really vibing on watching Netflix till 3 a.m., like I'm not going to take that away from you.
Yeah.
I'm just going to recommend some different things.
Maybe like 2 a.m.
Yeah. So
like start weaning off.
I mean, I'm not one to tell like anybody. You can live your life, right? Again, I'm not one to push my agenda on other people. I'm gonna recommend a way if they're interested. Like I'm gonna provide a service, and again, like you got to be willing to do the work. So, if someone comes to me and they're like, "Hey, man, I'm just like struggling to get into a routine. I need some help," right? Okay, well, what is it gonna take for us to get you in a routine, right? Well, clearly we're struggling by ourselves, right? Yeah. So if that's me, just having like 1 day a week check in, like I'm just going to send you a text. Hey, where you been? Right. That's all it takes. Great. Yeah. I mean, some people, that's all it takes. Once a month, maybe.
Yeah.
Right?
Which is why like CrossFit communities are great.
Right.
Like, you're going to make a lot of friends. And if they don't see you for a few days, they're going to be like, hey,
call your ass out.
Yeah. Where have you been?
Right.
Where have you been? We missed you. We're getting fit.
So, but that can be for anything, we know that obviously community drives culture. And like if you have the culture, like our 4:30 class at Farmhouse, like off the top of my head right now, I could probably name 13 of the 14 that are going to be here this afternoon, right? Because they're regulars. It's part of their routine now, right? And if they're not there, I'm going to be like, wonder where they're at, Same thing for 6 a.m., same thing for the 9 a.m. People get, if you're providing a service that people enjoy or the people that they get something out of, right? They're going to incorporate it into their routine, right? They're going to make it normal, and they're going to want to do it, right? And again, of course, there's going to be like times where the last thing you want to do is go to the gym at 9 a.m. or 6 a.m.
Yeah. But it's going to make you feel better later.
Right. But it's part of your routine. So like, just like having some respect for yourself too. in regards to doing what you're saying you're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, I don't know if you do book recommendations or anything like that on here, but like Atomic Habits, that's a good book.
Yeah.
If I ever recommend any book, maybe it's because I tend to operate like a robot. I really like structure in my life. Don't get me wrong, I like to be sporadic and do, off the whim weekend trips and whatnot. But I find that I thrive with routine. I can kind of get into the, just like a train that's rolling down the tracks, right? It's hard to stop. Once it's going, it's hard to stop, right? Type thing. So, you can read Atomic Habits. Another one, Simon Sinek, Start with Why.
Okay.
That's another good one too. It just, again, going back to our why question, right? Like, you got to know why. You gotta ask why. You gotta know why you're doing something, right? And why, right? And that just like exponentially make, I guess I can't say it exponentially make your life better, but it made my life better, and I've always operated more on task-driven life. Okay, I gotta wash the dishes. I'm gonna eliminate all my distractions, and I'm gonna wash the dishes. Yeah, just get it done. Right, do the work, run the play. So yeah,
that's awesome.
There you go, baby. Book recommendations. You didn't even ask for it.
No, I did on the list of questions.
Oh yeah, you did, yeah. So
there it is. And where can people find you, Lance?
They can find me at Lancey Pants Erickson on Instagram, at Farmhouse Performance Lab on Instagram, at farmhousecrossfit.com, blueoxchiropractic.com. Don't forget that. If you want an appointment, hit me up. Pretty flexible right now.
So are your clients.
So are my clients. I'm not your average chiropractor. I'm gonna put you to work, right? I'm gonna give you some incentive. Same thing for Farmhouse, right? We kind of have a cool little thing going on where we can incorporate my movement, health and wellness, anatomy, structure, whatnot into your specific realm of ability, right? So it's fun. We have a lot of fun at Farmhouse. We have a lot of fun at Blue Ox. And again, it just comes down to relationships. I'm not going to be your 30-second chiropractor that you come in, you say hi, I touch your back in 7 different spots, and then you walk out the door and pay, right? It's not going to be like that.
Thanks, Nancy.
Right. So again, it's not what I want. It's not the way I've ever wanted to operate. Again, if you know me, if you get stuck with me at the gym at 7 p.m. after 6 p.m. class, we'll probably chat until 9:30. If you want to, of course. So sometimes I'll kick you out, sometimes not. But yeah, you can find me online. Find me through Ruthless. If you want to hit me up through Ruthless, have any questions regarding health, wellness, stories, background, what you're interested in, and how it can relate to me, whether it's chiropractic, fitness, CrossFit, anything. That's me.
There it is.
Very good.
Thank you, Lance.
Right on.
There it is.
Goodbye.
Maybe goodbye. There it is.